just some hygiene checks. Can you hear and see me and all the guest panelists absolutely clear? I mean, can you hear me loud and clear, and can you see the guest panelists as clear as possible? A few responses, and then we are good to go in the next minute or. Super. That's good enough, guys. Super. So two things. Today is going to be a very fun-filled and a free-flowing discussion about markets, about investment philosophy that all these gentlemen carry and bring to the table. So I think it's going to be more free-flowing. ऐसे कोई specific question-answer वाला session होने वाला नहीं है. Lot of these guys have their own experiences to share. They have been decades into the market. So Pankaj Bhai that you see on the screen has been for decades into the market. I think he's seen more cycles than all of us possibly have. Vivek Bhai, obviously everybody knows him. The books that he's written, I'll introduce them as well. You're seeing Ankur Bhai on the screen, and the ever smiling Vishal Mehta. So I think कोई भी situation हो, दुख हो या सुख, वो हमेशा हंसते रहते हैं. So I think that's the best part about Vishal in general. Two things. One, the conversation that we'll have will be a mix of English and a little bit of Hindi as well. We'll try to put in because उसमें थोड़ा मजा आता है. जो तड़का हिंदी में है, वो कोई और भाषा में है नहीं, है ना? And before we begin, a very happy Navratri to all you guys. Let's hope that this Navratri brings the best in terms of health, wealth, prosperity to you and all your family members. And Pankaj Bhai, Ankur Bhai, Vivek Bhai, and Vishal Bhai, a very happy Navratri to you, your loved ones, and family as well.
Navratri to you also and all the viewers.
Hey, thank you, guys. So let's begin. Let me introduce all our wonderful guest panelists. और अगर मैं combine करूँ, their experience is almost equivalent to a century. 100 साल का experience है चारों panelists का. So I think let's learn a lot more in terms of the next hour and a half, and let's try to extract the best out of them over that time period. Let me first introduce Vivek Mashrani. He's a CFA, a charter holder, and a member of the CFA Society India. He's also done his MBA in capital markets from NIMS Mumbai. He's the founder and director at Technofunda Ventures. So the whole concept of Technofunda investing and what he brings to the table in terms of his books, as well as his blogs, his letters, I think are outstanding in terms of taking us up the learning curve. If you're not following any of the Twitter handles, please do that, because I think the threads and the blogs that they write are outstanding. Vivek has also written a book. It was one of the best sellers, You Can Compound. And obviously, I think a lot of articles of Vivek are available in terms of media publications as well. So thank you, Vivek, for taking time out. Welcome to this panel discussion. We're very pleased to have you.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here.
Pleasure is all ours. Let me now introduce Pankaj Ladha. Pankaj Ladha has been, again, as I said, an investor and a trader from 1989. So I think he's seen markets much more, at least from my perspective. He's also an author of a best-selling book, 13 Swing Trading Strategies. And that book is available in both versions, English as well as Hindi. He constantly endeavors to educate investors about financial planning, investing regularly, and taking informed decision as well. He conducts investor awareness programs. He has been awarded by the Rajasthan government for spreading financial literacy. And he's a keen follower of CanSlim, but also an investor in terms of the CanSlim strategy as well. So Pankaj Bhai, welcome to this panel discussion as well. We're very pleased to have you on our platform.
Thanks a lot, and it's my pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pankaj Bhai. Let me now introduce Ankur Pandey. He's a very long-term investor. So by long-term, I genuinely mean we were having a discussion as well. बोले trading मुझे कुछ समझता नहीं है. Long-term मुझे समझता है. So he's a genuine long-term investor who firmly believes in fundamental research, consistent cash flows, and choosing long-term stocks. He has been researching companies from the age of 18. I won't really ask him what his age is at this point of time. I still presume he's still 18. So Ankur, no two questions about that. I'm presuming you're still 18. So you've just moved on the learning curve. Your age has stayed where it has been. But again, I think his inclination towards equities, because his father was a long-term investor as well. And because the entire perspective was that compounding happens over a longer period of time, one must research as well as invest. I think these keywords are very, very important from Ankur Pandey's perspective, research as well as invest. And therefore, I think some multi-bagger returns over the years that he's got from companies like Reliance, Bajaj, Shri Rayalaseema, Tejas have been outstanding. He's a master's in telecommunication. He's also an ardent reader about international affairs as well as foreign policy. So welcome to the show, Ankur. Pleasure having you on our platform.
Thank you, Mayuresh. The honor is all mine.
Brilliant. And last but not the least, my very, very good friend and one who I've met the most out of this panel as well, Vishal Mehta, always smiling, as I said. Kabhi khushi hui, kabhi gum hui. Vishal's smile never goes off, and that's the best part in terms of his attitude. He's obviously founded his firm with a lot of zeal. His team, in fact, over the last few weeks had gone to an international location. और बेचारा विशाल अपना काम कर रहा था, तो he was I was speaking to him in the afternoon, saying that the boss is working and the guys are enjoying themselves. But Vishal is a very, very hard worker. One of the best when it probably comes to price action, swing trading. Also an ardent follower in terms of how the canceling methodology works. He's been associated with the markets for a long, long period of time, and it's an honor probably to have Vishal on this platform as well. So Vishal, thank you so much for making it possible here. And probably enlightening all our users on the knowledge that
If it is you and William O'Neill, I can't miss it. Let me be very honest with you, because William O'Neill and you are very close to me. So if it is you guys, I have to be there. Be it as a participant or as a speaker, I have to be there.
Brilliant. So let's start, guys. I think a lot of users are wanting to understand your philosophy, the approach to the markets. और पहला सवाल विशाल मैं आपसे ही स्टार्ट करता हूँ, है ना? नवरात्रि क्या आज दूसरा दिन है, लाल रंग है, तो I know you're appropriately dressed. Ankur bhai is also with a red tie. I think I'm the only person who's wearing yesterday's color, which is white. But I think it's all forgiven at this point of time. Markets have been in a sort of a frenzy. 4 दिन पहले तक everything was all right. Suddenly, I think with rate commentary, so on and so forth on the macro front, Friday को बाजार खराब हुआ. It broke its 50 DMA. Almost breaking the 200 DMA today. So the question that will be there on everybody's mind, Vishal, लाल रंग तो बाजार ने कल दिखा दिया, आगे क्या?
ठीक है. So आपने जैसे बताया कि I'm an ardent follower of technical analysis. Being a CMT, my first focus is all technical. कभी-कभी मुझे पता भी नहीं होता कि Fed का event कभी होने वाला है. Broker मुझे message करते हैं, तभी I get to know, okay, today is a Fed event. So that's an interesting way of looking at things. But let me just share my screen and just see what we are looking at it. So just confirm me if you are able to see my screen, Mayuresh.
Not it. Yeah, I can see that.
Yes.
Visible.
So I've kept it very simple. Like, हम लोग वही firm believe करते हैं. The simple goes the long way. It's just that people want to make it very complicated. But जैसे पंकज जी भी बहुत follow करते हैं moving averages को. अगर एक simple philosophy रखे कि is everybody making money or not? और इसका एक simple सा example मैं दो तीन kind of example से दूंगा. First of all, looking at Nifty right now, if you can see over here, it is below 20-day moving average, which you always talk about. It's a monthly moving average, 50 is a quarterly moving average, and a 200-day moving average, which is a yearly average. So we are flirting with that line right now.
Vishal, I'll just interrupt. Your volume is a little bit low. So
okay. So I'll be a little louder. My voice was a little low because of something, but I'll be a bit louder. Can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah, and it's okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
No. So the best thing is right now, the hope, or you can say the Lakshman Rekha that we are flirting with, is a 200-day moving average. And now a question would come to you whether we will break this moving average or we will rebound from this moving average. It's a matter of time. As a price action trader, we don't try to anticipate what is going to happen. And I think so. William O'Neill ne bhi bataya tha कि you follow the price, you don't predict the price. So what you can do is, when there's 200-day moving average, I'm going to wait and watch, because obviously यहाँ पे थोड़ा pressure बना हुआ है. If there is a closing below this 200-day moving average, that's a worry sign for me. And obviously I was just checking the MarketSmith India. I don't want to out, but obviously we have just downgraded and get out of all our holdings. So it's a wait and watch for us. So what I'm looking at is, if there is a breakdown, 16,400 is the level where I'm going to start picking up little bit of stocks and see how the market kind of reacts. Not only that, Mayuresh, let me just show you something very interesting, even more interesting. I can move the window. Yeah. Can you see this Dow? Okay, Dow is also at a very, very interesting level right now. I put it on a weekly chart. This was the pre-COVID level. We had a COVID scenario, then a complete bounce back, recovered, breakout brilliantly. After that, 36,000 ka top banaya, 37,000 around, came back, bounced back from the pre-COVID level, made another top, coming back to this. Now, this becomes a very, 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 again, we are talking this at a very crucial level. It's a make or break level. If the market gets sustained above this, obviously we are going to see a bounce back from this level. And if the Dow also breaks down, and then there is some bit of worry sign for me. Why I say? Because it's like an head and shoulder pattern getting violated. And if I'm going to put an direction over here, this is somewhere around almost 22,000, 22,600. So this area, if you ask me honestly, अगर हम लोग निफ्टी में भी देख रहे तो 200-day moving average की लक्ष्मण रेखा पे, Dow at a very crucial level. So we don't want to predict, but yeah, keep our eyes on and keep our position light, because right now it's not a point to be a hero right now. It's better to take some chips out from the market, keep them handy in case we need them. We can come back to the market and play with those chips that we have it. So ये एक point था. And lastly, I will show some interesting stuff which we have been doing, some real analysis. Okay, so if you see, let me just, I did this in Bangkok presentation, so I'll just put it out. So I took a data from 2011 to 2022 in Bank Nifty, which inculcates, okay, a bear phase. You can see around market fell down by, you can see the presentation, right, Mayuresh and everyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
You want to have a pointer put there, Vishal?
No, that's okay. So you can see the bear phase, right?
Yeah.
Then we had a bull phase of 13,000 points, which was 168% rise, right?
Correct.
Then we had a bear phase again in 2016 odd levels, which was 7,400 points down, which is 35% drop.
Vishal, I think you need to change the screen. I think
it's
Dow chart.
Correct.
Acha. You're still seeing the charts?
Yes.
My bad. Okay.
Thanks, Vivek, for pointing that out.
Yes, let me just share my. Okay. Thank you, Vivek, for that. So now can you see?
Yeah.
Able to see?
Yeah.
Visible presentation?
Visible.
Now you can see the bear phase again, 16,000 points. And then we had a bull phase of 25,000 points, around 159. So if you see, in the long run, 2011 to 2022, we have actually calculated 3 bear phases. We have actually seen 3 bear phases, because we say anything greater than 25% from the top is a bear market. And if we see a rally more than 25% from the bottom, it's a bull phase that we are getting into. Now, what is very interesting, Mayuresh and all the panelists and all the viewers, that we have kind of pointed out why investing is such an important philosophy. You should have it. So we did one very interesting analysis. Say we took the data from 3rd of Jan of 2011, when the Bank Nifty was 11,920, till the 20th of July, where the Bank Nifty was somewhere around 37,381 points.
Okay.
And we have traveled how much points? Around 25,461 points.
Correct.
We did a very interesting analysis, Mayuresh bhai. What we did was, what we want to see underlying strength of the market. Okay, what is the underlying drift of the market? Because हम लोग ने 3 bull phases देखे और 3 बड़े bear phase भी देखे 2011 से 2022 में. Yes?
True.
अगर मैं एक intraday player हूँ, तो I'm assuming that I'm getting long at 11,920 and I'm closing my position. This is an hypothetical. I will never get an open and I will never get a close. But just for understanding what is the underlying drift or underlying trend for the market, अगर मैं 11,920 open पे लेता हूँ और 11,882 पे बेच देता हूँ, which is like I buy at opening and sell at the close intraday. Okay, how much points would I make? That's my intraday gain. Okay, and what is my overnight gain? Overnight gain कुछ भी नहीं है, अपना जो BTST बोलते हैं, क्योंकि 11,950 minus 11,880, that means today's open minus the yesterday's close. अगर मैं last closing पे लेके गया और next दिन मैंने opening पे बेच दिया, how much point would I have made? Okay, so let me just you a simple question. अगर मुझे आपका ये 25,000 पॉइंट्स की रैली हुई है, which includes 3 bull phases and 3 bear phases, Mayuresh bhai, Pankaj bhai, Ankur, Vivek, and all the viewers can also put it. How many points would I have got on intraday return and how many points would I have got on overnight return? I'm sure everybody has understood कि by intraday मैंने opening में खरीदा और closing पे बेचा, और दूसरा मैंने closing पे खरीद के next दिन opening पे बेच दिया, which is BTST.
Correct.
So just Mayuresh, what would be your guess? Where the money comes from? 25,000 points का distribution कैसे रहा रहेगा?
वो तो पता नहीं, मुझे लगा कैंसिल से ही आता है पैसा.
So let's ask Pankaj ji, Vivek ji, and
Pankaj ji, Vivek ji, any guesses?
As well.
Any guesses?
I think 1/3% should be from BTST and balance should be from.
So overnight से 1/3 or 2/3 from intraday.
Very nice. Vivek?
Yeah, similar. I think same view. I think broadly.
Okay. Anybody on the chat, if they want to put it out, do we have any?
So guys, this is free flowing, huh? You can put your views.
Yes. I will just open up eyes for you guys. Let me just see few messages are coming overnight, more on BTS.
So Vishal bhai, अब तक जो 5-6 response आए हैं, 3-4 responses are saying overnight, BTST which is again overnight, और 2-3 patrons ने 50-50 बोला है.
ठीक है. You want to see the result?
Please do that.
The result is this, astonishing. Intraday has given us a negative return.
Ooh.
And overnight has given 28,000 points. That means majority of our money has come from the overnight gaps.
Nice.
And that's why the investing or the, what do you call it, जो हम लोग को intraday में कितना भी interest हो, लेकिन the underlying drift of the market. And remember, this data include 3 bull phases and 3 bear phases.
Perfect.
So that's why I really wanted to emphasize कि हाँ भाई market अभी थोड़ा weak है. You can put some money in, put in all your chips little out, but as and when the opportunity starts arising, you start getting into the market again. So that was a long story short from my end about how I'm looking at the market.
Thank you, Vishal bhai. Perfect. I think a lot of users have actually liked that. So let me be a devil's advocate. So Vivek bhai, I'll come to you and Ankur ji on a little bit on medium-term investing later. But since we are on this topic of how the markets are poised, just a devil's advocate. अगर यहाँ से bounce आया विशाल भाई, तो ये bounce कहाँ तक लेके जा सकते हैं? Because I've been hearing from some participants 17,400, 17,500, and is the worst really over from a technical standpoint if that bounce happens?
So if the bounce happens from 200-day moving averages, obviously I'm going to put. See, I usually don't get into prediction business. I'll be very honest with you.
Sure.
I just put my stop losses just below it, and if you ask me where does it go, I don't know. I'll just follow it with my stop losses, and if my stop losses are broken, I'm just out of my position. As simple as that.
और flip side पूछो आपको विशाल भाई, तो अगर 200 day टूटा, तो what time frame are you looking at in terms of some correction that we'll see? Because Nifty has outperformed.
That I can try to predict, to be honest, like because a lot of over a period of time, technical analysis also becomes self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at 200-day moving averages. Everybody's putting their stop losses. All the institutions are looking at them at that same period of time. If the breakout is genuine and if we able to sustain below this, we are going to see a pressure coming in a month's time or 1.5 months. We can easily move towards 16,400, which is like on the downside, a quick drop, because as I told you, we are at a very, very, very critical juncture right now.
Sure.
Either it is a make or break levels.
Perfect. So Vishal bhai, let me take this forward since we are on this topic to Pankaj bhai as well. So Pankaj bhai, आपने price action, आपकी जो book आपने लिखी है swing trading strategies के ऊपर, जो विशाल भाई लेवल्स बता रहे थे और जो वंडरफुल एनालिसिस विशाल भाई ने बताया इन टर्म्स ऑफ द प्रेजेंटेशन इटसेल्फ, आप इससे कितना सहमत हो? और अगर आपको दिक्कतें लग रही है बाजार में, तो क्या आपको लगता है जो फॉल आएगा ये बेहतरीन मौके होंगे फॉर इन्वेस्टर्स टू स्टार्ट गेटिंग इन? और इन्वेस्टर्स को मैं डिफाइन करना चाहता हूं आपके पर्सपेक्टिव से. इज इट अ वीक्स टाइम, इज इट अ मंथ्स टाइम, क्या देख रहे हो आप? और क्या ये स्ट्रेंथ बनी रहेगी अगर फॉल एक सब्सटेंशियल आता है?
मयूरेश जी, नंबर फर्स्ट, ये जो विशाल जी का जो डेटा था वो वास्तव में बहुत एस्टोनिशिंग था, और ये हमें ये इंडिकेट कर रहा है कि ओवरनाइट गेन या होल्डिंग इन्वेस्टमेंट्स आपको बेटर परफॉर्मेंस दे रहा है. और ये जो हमारी बुक है स्विंग ट्रेडिंग स्ट्रेटजी, वो भी स्विंग ट्रेडिंग पे बिलीव करती है, न कि इंट्राडे ट्रेडिंग पर. स्विंग ट्रेडिंग में आपकी प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ सक्सेस बेटर हो जाती है और आपका सक्सेस रेशियो बेटर हो जाता है. अब रही जहां तक ये बात है कि मार्केट क्या लगता है, ये आज जैसा विशाल जी ने कहा कि इफ इट ब्रेक्स, इन्होंने प्रिडिक्ट किया कि यदि ये 16,900 200 डे मूविंग एवरेज को ब्रेक करता है तो ये इज प्रिडिक्टिंग 16,400. ऑन द फ्लिप साइड, ऑन द सेकंड अदर साइड, व्हाट आई फील इज कि डाउ जोन्स इंडस्ट्रियल एवरेज इस समय अपने 200 वीक मूविंग एवरेज के आसपास रन कर रहे हैं, बल्कि पिछले 2 या 3 दिन से उसके नीचे क्लोज हो चुके हैं ऑलरेडी.
करेक्ट.
200 वीक मूविंग एवरेज एक बहुत क्रिटिकल एवरेज है यदि हम यूएस के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखें तो जहां तक मैं पर्सनली फील कर रहा हूं, या जैसा मैं इस समय ह्यूमन साइकोलॉजी को भी देख लें हम लोग, तो इस समय एवरीवन इज नेगेटिव अबाउट द मार्केट. द प्रॉब्लम इज एवरीवन इज टॉकिंग अबाउट इंटरेस्ट रेट, इन्फ्लेशन एंड यूएस, रशिया, चाइना एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. तो प्रॉब्लम इज कि जब मार्केट का बॉटम उसी टाइम पे बनता है जब आपको पता हो कि मार्केट में क्या बैड न्यूज है या बाजार क्यों टूट रहा है. और आज हमें यह भी मालूम चल चुका है कि बाजार यूएस या यूरोप में डिप्रेशन की वजह से या मंदी की वजह से टूट रहा है. तो मंदी आज जब हमें पता लग गई कि वो लोग भी मानने लग गए कि आप बिल्कुल मंदी में है, डेफिनेटली विद इन 6 months वी आर गोइंग टू सी ए बियर फेज या बियर मार्केट इन द इकोनॉमी. नाउ व्हेन न्यूज इज आउट तो क्या बचा? मार्केट कभी भी नहीं टूटता है इस बात से कि बाजार में मंदी आ गई. बाजार टूटता है इस बात से कि बाजार में मंदी आ सकती है या आने वाली है. यदि मंदी आने वाली ये फियर मार्केट में हो तो बाजार टूटता है. पिछले 2 दिन से देखें, मैं आपको एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल देता हूं. फ्रॉम 31st of August, फर्स्ट डे था जिस दिन बाजार बॉटम गैप डाउन हुआ और बिल्कुल बॉटम पे खुला. आपको ध्यान होगा उस 23 अगस्त से लेकर 3 सितंबर तक बाजार ने 3 बार गैप डाउन दिए और तीनों बार फर्स्ट टिक वाज द बॉटम ऑफ द मार्केट. नाउ फोर्थ टाइम भी लगभग वैसा हुआ, लेकिन फिफ्थ टाइम वैसा नहीं हुआ. और फिफ्थ टाइम के बाद में पिछले 3 बार से हम क्या देख रहे हैं, बाजार जब खुल रहा है जिस बॉटम पे नहीं खुल के बल्कि एक रीजनेबल लेवल खुलता है और शाम होते होते बाजार में बहुत ज्यादा टूट रहा है. मतलब बाजार ने अपना बिहेवियर चेंज कर दिया है. करेक्ट. इट मींस कि हमें ये मानना चाहिए कि बाजार वी आर वेरी नियर टू बॉटम. यदि कोई एक्सेप्शनल न्यूज या एक्स्ट्रा न्यूज आ जाए जो आज हमारे सामने नहीं है, वो बाजार को 200 डे मूविंग एवरेज या 200 वीक मूविंग एवरेज के नीचे ले जा सकता है. यदि एक दिन 200 डे मूविंग एवरेज के नीचे क्लोज भी हो गया, इट डजंट मैटर कि वो क्या होने वाला है, वो कभी भी रिक्लेम भी कर सकता है और फिर से ऊपर आ सकता है. प्रोबेबिलिटी, व्हाट आई पर्सनली फील इज वी आर वेरी नियर टू बॉटम. इफ यदि बाजार का 16,900 3 दिन तक टूट के बंद नहीं होता है, और यदि यहां से आपने रिस्क रिवार्ड के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से यदि हम बात करें तो स्मॉल एंड मिड कैप में क्वालिटी में जो आपको रिलेटिव स्ट्रेंथ आप देख रहे हैं इस समय, कुछ स्टॉक्स में, क्वालिटी स्टॉक्स में जो आपने आज भी ऑब्जर्व की होगी, वो ये बता रही है कि बाजार में मंदी की कोई प्रोबेबिलिटी है नहीं. एक और रीजन क्या आप मान के चलिएगा कि मंदी इस समय जो आ रही है वो इस समय हम डीकपल की बहुत ज्यादा बात कर रहे हैं बाजार में. डीकपल क्या है कि यूएस मार्केट से हम डीकपल हो गए हैं और पिछले 2-3 दिन से हमें लगता है कि हम रिकपल हो गए हैं. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इस वीकेंड या वीक 10 डेज में रिकपल की जगह रियली डीकपल ही रहेंगे. वहां के मार्केट ठीक होते रहेंगे और हम थोड़ा सा प्रेशर में रह सकते हैं. लेकिन ये बाजार का अंतिम निर्णय नहीं होगा. लास्ट डिसीजन तो यही होने वाला है कि बाजार यहां से जो रैली चलेगी वो बाजार को 18,500 इवन 19,000 तक भी लेके जा सकती है. तो इसलिए जब फियरफुल टाइम है तो डरने की जरूरत नहीं है. डेफिनेटली विलियम ओ'नील ने डाउनग्रेड कर दिया है, पर उसको अपग्रेड करने में मुश्किल से 4 दिन लगेंगे मार्केट कंफर्म अप ट्रेंड में आने में. तो वो 4 दिन कब स्टार्ट होगा, बस इतनी सी देरी है. बाजार में घबराने की कोई बात नहीं.
तो पंकज जी, थैंक यू सो मच. आई थिंक जो सुनने वाले आई थिंक बहुत बहुत ज्यादा खुश हो जाएंगे. और आपने आपके पूरे रिमार्क्स में विलियम ओ'नील जी की फिलोसॉफी भी ला ली, बफेट का कोड भी डाल दिया. तो आई थिंक सब कुछ आपने ले लिया. बट द बेस्ट थिंग पंकज जी है कि जो फियर फैक्टर होता है, आई थिंक वो बाजार भाप के चलता है. यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट इन दैट सेंस. So let me take this forward with Vivek. So Vivek, I think welcome to this conversation. What Vishal and Pankaj have given in terms of their views on how the technical setup of the market is. we all know in terms of how the macro news is playing out. I think everybody's aware of the macro news, and overnight everybody's become an economist per se, right? And आप कुछ भी पूछो तो currency का उनको पता होता है. They probably know bond yields much better than most of the economists track and do. But considering the macro events, how the market is positioned right now, what is your strategy? Because you're a strong believer and an avid follower in terms of technical and fundamental investing as well.
Yes.
And therefore, I think what is the strategy formulation that you think should be deployed or used at this point of time? If the fall, if you believe, like Pankaj and Vishal think so as well, stand out on the 200 DMA, they recover from here, or the fall is not as substantial as India stands out, how do you formulate your strategies in a market like this over the next few quarters for investors?
Great. Thank you so much. And बहुत ही interesting discussion हो रहा है. I think पंकज जी ने भी काफी अच्छे points दिए. Vishal's point of view was also very valid. So what I follow is also more of a positional and long term. So I'm probably combination of what Pankaj ji and Ankur ji is doing, right? So
Absolutely.
I have 30% kind of satellite portfolio, and 70% is more like a core portfolio, which is long term, and you hold it for a slightly longer period of time. What my observation currently is it is more like a risk of event that is going on, right? So if you see the VIX has crossed 20 mark, right? India VIX recently, like 2-3 days. If we see the long-term charts, are you able to see the charts over here?
Yes.
Yeah. So if we see the small cap 100 chart, and this is just my strategy to just identify the trend following. But if you see since last January, the small cap index has been in the falling spree, and it is making lower lows and lower highs, right? So, and the kind of selling or the pressure small cap is seeing is much severe. If you come to the mid cap, it is slightly lesser. It's just hovering in a consolidation band. And if we see the Nifty one, it is even more consolidated, and it's just forming like a cup kind of pattern.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing to see is right now, काफी सारे मिड कैप और स्मॉल कैप में जो रैली आई थी लास्ट 2 months में आफ्टर द May June correction, there were a lot of momentum based stocks which started picking up again. There has been a lot of profit booking that has happened, क्योंकि लोग को लग रहा है कि यार अभी इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ने से एटलीस्ट फंडामेंटली वी नो दैट द डिस्काउंट रेट गोज अप, राइट? सो इफ द डिस्काउंट रेट ऑफ अ कैश फ्लो गोज अप, your valuation should naturally come down, right? So logically, fundamentally, that makes perfect sense कि आपका demand एक तो कम हो जाएगा, plus the valuation which you are commanding will come down because of the rise in the discount rate itself. Now, the interesting thing is this. If you see all the large cap, right, like Titan, or for that matter, just give me a second. So Titan, if you see, it is making the base and very, very good cup and handle kind of structure. If you see Pidilite, it is showing RS, strength. The blue dot is also coming up, and it is also showing so much of strength. Asian Paint showing so much of strength. वहाँ पे cup and handle kind of pattern is making RS rating इसका all time high पे चल रहा है. Cipla, if you see, right, again same pattern, you will see like cup and handle kind of pattern, RS rating strength दिखा रहा है, and same Page Industry. Now, if you think all these stocks, right, are indicator of the risk of the market condition, कि छुपने की जगह चाहिए, लोग निकल नहीं रहे, फियर फैक्टर तो आया ही नहीं है. दैट इज व्हाट आई फील कि जैसे ही थोड़ा सा बाउंस आता है, मोमेंटम वाले स्टॉक्स भी तुरंत चलने लगते हैं, स्विंग ट्रेडर्स भी काफी एक्टिव होने लग रहे हैं. तो वो फियर नहीं आया, बट आई थिंक देयर इज सम बिट ऑफ रिस्क ऑफ कि भाई थोड़ा छुप लेते, फिर बाद में वापस, जैसे ही पंकज जी बोल रहे थे कि 4-5 दिन वापस जैसे ही जगह मिले वापस बॉम्बार्डिंग कर लेंगे. सो दैट इज माय ब्रॉड वियर, दैट इट इज मोर लाइक अ टेम्पररी what you say, cautiousness which has come in the market, and decoupling has happened for sure, because US market itna gir gaya और we are near all time high, which is like a very, very rare scenario. मैं कॉल के पहले अंकुर जी से भी हम लोग बात कर रहे थे कि ये कभी देखने को इतना मिलता नहीं था फ्रीक्वेंटली. जब US मार्केट 30-40% अगर गिरता है, तो इंडियन मार्केट एटलीस्ट 10-15% तो गिरता ही था. बट दिस इज अ वेरी गुड साइन कि काफी सारा पैसा म्यूचुअल फंड में आ रहा है, SIP में आ रहा है. And now even more so, right, अगर इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ता है तो दैट इज अनदर एंगल टू लुक एट कि रियल एस्टेट वापस लुक्रेटिव नहीं रहेगा, and equity markets will again start looking lucrative as such compared to the other asset class also. So let's see. I think I'm positive overall. It's more like a temporary phenomenon which I feel, but अच्छे दिन soon आएंगे ऐसा लग रहा है.
Brilliant. I think most of our panelists are very, very optimistic. And Vivek bhai ka sun ke I think बहुत अच्छा लगा. Pankaj bhai, you've got a lot of comments on the chat. lot of users are actually liking what your thoughts are over the next few days अगर market घूम जाता है तो. And generally, I think all these wonderful gentlemen are following mechanisms largely put out by O'Neill as well, apart from their own strategies that they devise. Just a follow-up question, Vivek, on the same thing as well. With markets comes risk, and risk management becomes a very, very integral component of the market. What we see in terms of the current phases of the market, jitni volatility of market mein, how do you ensure risk management practices and that you stick by the rules,
Right.
and how important they are for retail investors to deploy and also follow very, very carefully?
Absolutely, very, very important. And I pretty much follow a lot of learnings of Mark Minervini and William O'Neill as such to implement. In fact, कल ही मैंने अपने जो बैच थी उसमें we went deep dive into the VCV pattern and we were doing the risk management techniques कि कैसे ऐसे market में आप navigate कर सकते हो. तो first thing is what I personally follow is core satellite approach, just to make sure कि जब momentum है we ride that satellite portfolio fully. And when the market is not so conducive, the swing kind of portion or the momentum kind of portion goes down and shrinks. तो मेरा simple indicator मैं एक ही follow करता हूँ कि if India VX starts going above 20, I go into a cautious zone. So out of my 30% of satellite, I maybe reduce it to like 10-15%.
Okay.
Right, or even go to zero if there is so much of risk off that is happening.
Sure.
And there is so much of volatility, because non-trending market may, if we are doing swing, will get stopped out very frequently, even if we are doing on a weekly time frame, right? So that is a very, very clear strategy. And at the same time, when these kind of events happen and you are on cash on the satellite side, I try to find opportunities on the core side. Ki bhai, same May June mein hua tha, like Eicher Motors was showing strength. RS rating bhi MarketSmith mein, it was like going high.
Perfect.
And auto sector in the industry group was also leading in the month of May June. So you pick up a leading sector and a strong company which could form a part of core portfolio for a long term, rather than hunting for a short term where the probability of loss may be higher if the market is not going into the trend again. So that is broadly what I follow. And in terms of position sizing in these kind of market condition,
Sure.
I decrease the position sizing. So if I'm say for example taking 1% initiating position in any of the position in my satellite portfolio,
Sure.
I go down to say 0.5% and then trail my exit. Ke jaise hi, matlab, what Mark also teaches, right? You try to break even as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
And only have patterns which are like really high probability patterns. Otherwise, don't touch. If there is a sector tailwind, if the pattern is very strong, and if the fundamental triggers are very strong, like the earnings triggers are very strong, only bet on those kind of companies. So don't do unnecessary adventures basically in these times.
Perfect, Vivek. In fact, folks, if you are listening in, I think Vishal, Pankaj Bhai, Vivek Bhai, and even Ankur, I'm pretty sure we'll speak to him right away. They keep it very, very simple. Complex करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Investment is not supposed to be a very complex process. You can keep it as simple as possible and it works wonderfully well for you. Vivek, we will come back when we have a different round in terms of how do you pick up leading sectors, so on and so forth. But with this, I think I'll take an opportunity to speak to Ankur as well. Ankur, you're a typical long-term investor. And therefore, I think what probably comes out is कि अगर ये market गिरता है, in whatever proportion it falls, it really should not bother. I mean, it should not matter for a long-term investor how much proportion of that fall is. If you've got a 5-10 year horizon and you're getting into qualitative stocks. So what is your process in terms of identification? Large caps का सबको पता है, but within the mid cap universe, right? This is where I think the meat is, rather in terms of finding multi-baggers over a longer period of time. What is your process in terms of the key attributes that you give in terms of shortlisting stocks that fit your criteria from long-term investment perspective? So if you can share some highlights.
Yes, Mayuresh, I'll get on to it. First, I would like to thank the team MarketSmith India and William O'Neill. Before last 15 years back, there were no research tools available in Indian markets. For each and every research, you had to actually reach out to a company, call for their balance sheets. It was so difficult. And once I came across MarketSmith India, it was really, really amazing for me. One-stop solution for all the research. For an individual investor like me, it was a godsend. Thank you so much, and to your team also. Very, very hard. Second, Mayuresh, I'll come to you. How do I pick up mid-cap stocks? Large cap, as you said, सबको पता रहता है. Mid-cap universe में stock ढूंढना काफी मुश्किल होता है. उसके लिए what I go, सबसे पहले मैं देखता हूँ कि ROE and ROCE, they should be above 15 to 20%. 15% 20% अगर पिछले 3 साल के या इवन 2 साल के 15 या 20% से above आ रहे हैं return on equity and return on capital employed, that shows that company might be turning around slowly. Then I start researching further on the company. I go through the websites, I read old news about that company. Then I see what is happening with their cash reserves. If the year-on-year cash reserves are increasing, and the icing on the cake would be if every 4 to 5 years the company is showing a trend that their cash reserves are doubling. If I see cash reserves doubling up in 4 to 5 years, then that is a second tick mark for me. This company can do well. The earning per share should be consistent, even if they are not growing. The margins, either the margins have to grow or EPS has to grow. Even if they're not growing, they should not be declining. If last 3 years are giving me a sign, then I further home on to it. Then I look at the sector. These 3 attributes are matching in a company, and which sector is it from? Is it from a sector like Coal India when it's 110? I knew it will do well further, but I think after 5 or 7 years, it might not do that well. Some sunrise sectors like tech products, software companies, new geospatial technologies, which are now coming up, I'm sure they certainly will do well in the next 7 to 10 years. They will pick up and they do very well. So I look at the sector. After that, I look at one more thing. Has any star investor invested in these? And it is, I don't go looking at the star investors portfolio. First, I do my research. And if any star investor is also there, that only further cements my opinion about the company. After that, my approach is like for swing tradings and momentum trading, people say people follow the DMAs, 200 DMA. If the stock is below 200 DMA, don't go for it. I say if the company is good, fundamentals are good, story is intact, even as that time, even if it's below all DMAs, I start taking positions. And my first and foremost thumb rule is I never go all in. I start taking positions. Suppose I want to put 1 lakh in a company. I will start making positions from 5,000 rupees, 5%. And this, my position making goes for 1 full quarter. I will take 3 months to build a position. I'm just taking minimum. My concept is minimum 1 lakh we have to put in a company if we want to generate any meaningful returns. For swing trading and momentum trading, we can generate income. For wealth, we have to do long-term investing. As Vishal Bhai also brought out, why the returns on overnight are better than day trading? Because overnight is longer than day trading. Similar way, swing trading is longer than overnight, and long-term investing is much longer than swing trading. So longer you are, the more further you are going into the ocean, the better returns you are going to get. This is my philosophy. After that, what my second thing is, you have to monitor the market continuously.
Sure.
You don't have to act, you don't have to react. Once you have taken a company, you have built your positions over 3 months, then your conviction must have built up with that company. Then you hold it, but monitor the progress daily. And one thing which my dad taught me, what we generally do, we make a portfolio of 10 stocks or 20 stocks, and then we stay put with them and we say, should we book profits in it or not? My dad said, till the time you don't need money or there is no emergency, do not book profits. Make every portfolio as one separate garden. Suppose I have a portfolio of 20 stocks which is 5 years old, which is suppose 300 or 400% up. So even if the market corrects by 30 or 40%, my heart is not beating my portfolio kya hoga, because it's 400% up. Girega bhi 350% up reh jayega. Then my dad said every 3 years, because the world keeps changing, you curate a new portfolio of 10 stocks, 20 stocks. For that, you make a new demat account. Don't keep the same demat account. Compartmentalize. Your investment should be compartmentalized. So I have a portfolio ICICI Direct, which is 15 years old. I have a portfolio HDFC Security, 10 years old. Now I have a portfolio in Zerodha, which is I think 2 years old. I'm again curating a portfolio in some other demat account. So this is the thing, and this helps me. The only thing which is troublesome is you have to keep monitoring so many companies. But then I again say, long-term investing is the best vocation. You don't have to rush. You can keep monitoring all the companies at a leisurely pace. In the evening, in the night, whenever you have time, you keep monitoring. Now, the portfolio which I am curating now, I will as per my readings in yesterday afternoon, our market, the accumulation slowly started. In India, in Nifty, the accumulations in yesterday noon has started. So I am very, very certain that till Diwali, it doesn't look we are going to go back down. Most likely by October end or November, December, we might again give a dip. This is my reading. We might again we might consolidate and go further up only. And upside, we might again go touch till 18,100 also till Diwali. My reading, I might be wrong. Anyone can be wrong in the share market. And I started building my positions from today onwards in some of the portfolio which I'm curating, which I discussed with Pankaj sir also before the chat started.
Great. Ankur, great to hear your thoughts. I think, folks, if you put in the parameters that Ankur uses, I think I have put that in. पंकज भाई, अंकुर भाई को 1800 लग रहा है, आपको 19,000 by दिवाली?
नहीं, बाय दिवाली? नो, बाय दिसंबर और बाय मार्च।
और दिवाली?
बाय दिवाली आई थिंक, नहीं दिवाली तक तो 18,500।
यानी 1800, 18,500। विशाल भाई, दिवाली?
नहीं पता है मुझे, सीरियसली।
अरे आप सेफ मत करो, फ्रंट फुट पे आकर छक्का मारता है, बताओ।
मयूरेश जी, यहाँ मैं एक चीज ऐड करना चाहूंगा। आपने मुझे इंट्रोड्यूस किया 1989 से इन्वेस्टर एंड ट्रेडर की तरह। इस समय में 1989 में यहाँ आया था स्टॉक मार्केट में, जब दलाल स्ट्रीट में घूमते थे, तो सेंसेक्स 300 हुआ करता था, 300।
वाओ।
मैं यहाँ फिर सेंसेक्स की बात कर रहा हूँ, निफ्टी की बात नहीं कर रहा। आज क्या सेंसेक्स, आज सेंसेक्स क्या है?
58, 57,
60,000,
करेक्ट।
200x। मैं यहाँ पैनल से भी और यहाँ हमारे साथ में जो भी जुड़े हुए हैं दोस्त हमारे, उनसे पूछना चाहूंगा, आपको क्या लगता है 35 ईयर बाद में आज से सेंसेक्स क्या होना चाहिए, यदि इसी स्पीड से बढ़ता रहे तो?
नहीं, तो इसके दो जवाब है। एक, विशाल डालेगा एक्सेल शीट पे ओवरनाइट और डे ट्रेडिंग का, साल के बाद 15% पे कंपाउंड करेगा। विवेक है डिफरेंट फॉर्मूला।
ओवरनाइट और कंपाउंड कुछ भी कर लीजिए, आप तो मुझे ये बताइए, आफ्टर 35 ईयर व्हाट विल बी द सेंसेक्स? और ये पूरे सभी पार्टिसिपेंट से ही क्वेश्चन है मेरा।
1.25 लाख के ऊपर निकल जाएगा, 1.5 लाख के ऊपर जा सकता।
अभी क्या है सेंसेक्स?
60। मैं तो अंदाज लगा रहा हूँ, मैं तो डाला भी नहीं।
सर अंदाज तो ढंग से लगाइए, 5-10 साल में डबल करोगे तो ही 60, तो ही हो जाएगा ये तो।
करेक्ट।
10 लाख होगा, 25% कंपाउंडिंग।
अरे देखिए 200x कीजिए ना 60,000 को आप।
करेक्ट।
300 का 60,000, तो 60,000 का 200x कितना हुआ? विशाल जी गायब हो गए यहाँ से कैलकुलेशन करने के लिए, उनका कैलकुलेटर छोटा पड़ गया है।
आगे मिंटू सिंह ने जवाब दिया।
नहीं, अब जब भी डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं ना हम लोग, वो छोटे बच्चे स्टूडेंट रहते हैं ना, जो नीचे सर रख के बेंच के नीचे रख देते हैं।
विशाल, मैं आपके साथ हूँ, बैक बेंचर।
पंकज भाई,
मिंटू सिंह ने राइट आंसर दिया, 1 लाख
करेक्ट,
0.2 CR। यानी कि आज हम जिस सेंसेक्स पे खड़े हैं 60,000 पे, वो तो इंट्राडे ओपनिंग और क्लोजिंग की जो विशाल जी बात कर रहे हैं ना, वो डिफरेंस होगा कि ओपनिंग एंड क्लोजिंग में 60,000 ऊपर नीचे हो गया है बाजार। गैप अप गैप डाउन कितना होगा? 60,000 गैप अप हो रहा है। तो आप देखिए हम कहाँ खड़े हैं। जिस समय में था 300 पे इंडेक्स हुआ करता था, हमें लगता था 500 भी कैसे होगा ये, और आज हम 60,000 पे खड़े हैं सर।
वंडरफुल।
वो रमेश दामानी का जो है ना ब्यूटीफुल के 10 लाख to 100 करोड़ वाला, अगर 25% से कंपाउंड करते हर 3 साल में डबल हो जाता है, राइट? तो वैसे ही होगा आई थिंक नेक्स्ट 30 साल में।
अच्छा, आई हैव नो टू वेज अबाउट इट। तो पंकज जी, जो इंडिया की है ना, मैं तो मानता हूँ डिकेड नहीं, ये पूरे 70 वर्ष इंडिया के आगे, यानी टिल द टाइम वी हिट द नेक्स्ट सेंचुरी, इंडिया's टाइम इज गोइंग टू बी देयर।
रादर मैं तो ये कहना चाहूंगा, जो पिछले 75 इयर्स में हुआ है उससे ज्यादा अगले 25 इयर्स में होने वाला है।
एब्सोल्युटली पंकज।
अब मैं एक क्वेश्चन 1 मिनट और चाहूंगा कि अंकुर जी ने कहा कि लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट की बात की। मेरा ऐसा मानना है कि हम बेस्ट एग्जांपल देते हैं HDFC बैंक का, और बेस्ट एग्जांपल देते हैं विप्रो का या TCS का या एशियन पेंट्स का। इन्होंने कितना रिटर्न जनरेट करके दिया है? 25 to 35, और वी आर मोर देन हैप्पी। और उस एक बेस्ट विनर को लेने के लिए, उस एक बेस्ट विनर को चूज करने के लिए, हमने कितने लूजर्स या कितने इन्वेस्टर्स के पास 10 में से 9 लूजर्स अपने पोर्टफोलियो में होते हैं। मैं आपसे पूछता हूं, यदि आप स्विंग ट्रेडिंग में 10% भी साल का 3 बार अर्न कर लेते हैं, तो आपको क्या किसी दूसरे पोर्टफोलियो, दूसरे HDFC बैंक की जरूरत है?
नहीं पंकज जी, नहीं। आई एग्री विद यू दिस टाइम।
तो बेटर, और हम बीइंग ए इन्वेस्टर, बाई एंड होप करें या बाई एंड होल्ड करें, ज्यादा बेटर है कि आप 10% के 3 रोटेशन कर लें, दैट्स ऑल। आप 4 में से 6 में से 3 कॉल भी दी आपकी साल में राइट हो गई, तो आप अपने 30% को अचीव कर सकते हैं। बस मेरा यही सबमिशन है। इसलिए एज ए स्मॉल इन्वेस्टर स्विंग ट्रेडिंग ज्यादा कंफर्टेबल है इन्वेस्टर्स के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, और वो अपने इमोशंस को बहुत इजीली मैनेज कर सकता है। ऐसे खराब पीरियड में अंकुर जैसे ब्रिलियंट लोग या इमोशनली इंटेलिजेंट लोग मैनेज कर पाते हैं अपने इमोशंस को। सब लोग इमोशंस को मेंटेन नहीं कर पाते हैं, इस पेन को महसूस करते हैं, लेकिन उससे एग्जिट हो जाते हैं और यही रीजन है कि इन्वेस्टर्स रिटर्न और इन्वेस्टमेंट रिटर्न में फर्क आ जाता है, या मार्केट रिटर्न और इन्वेस्टर्स रिटर्न में डिफरेंस आ जाता है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर द इनसाइट्स। ये थोड़ा इन्वेस्टर साइकोलॉजी में भी बात करेंगे। इनफैक्ट अनिल खुद कहते हैं कि अगर बेसिस बन रहे हैं तो 25% आप ले लो, लेट दैट बेस रन, क्योंकि वो बेस बनने के बाद कंसोलिडेट होता है, न्यू सेक्टर्स विल कम इन दैट टाइम पीरियड, यू राइट दैट। और जो कंपाउंडिंग स्टोरी होती है इवन फ्रॉम अ मीडियम टर्म इन्वेस्टिंग is brilliant over a longer period of time. You have investments calculate करते हो। Vishal, coming back to you, what we are discussing in terms of risk management with Vivek bhai as well. Obviously, I think your time horizon is a little bit short, right? How do you identify your process in terms of picking those stocks? Is it purely in terms of getting into some technical parameters that you've got? And if you'd like to share that, a few of them, so that investors can probably benefit.
But before that, Mayuresh bhai, आपने वो risk management की बात की, okay? So I just wanted to bring that topic back.
Sure.
And it talks about little bit of psychology, because that's how I keep on going about it in this market. So open question है सबके लिए. We are all here for profits, yes or no? Everyone, let's put it out. Okay, they are not able to hear. Everybody can put it on the chat. We are all here for profits, yes or no? Right? Yes. चलो, perfect. एक मैं ये हमेशा ये exercise कराता हूँ, and that really helped me. Okay, you have to do it, otherwise you will miss the point. You have to do it. Even Mayuresh, Pankaj ji, Ankur ji, Vivek, and everyone. Okay, you have to do this. You breathe in more, breathe in more, breathe in more, breathe in more. Breathe in more, breathe out. Similarly, you can't always breathe in. You can't always have profits.
Absolutely.
You have to breathe out to breathe in again. So risk management का सबसे पहला rule है, you have to take losses.
Oh, absolutely.
If you can't breathe out, then you will not be able to breathe in. At least from the swing trading perspective and trading perspective.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
It's very, very important of the part of the risk management that people don't talk about it. ठीक है, क्योंकि हम लोग बोलते हैं रिस्क मैनेजमेंट कर लेंगे, लेकिन रिस्क मैनेजमेंट का एक पार्ट है कि लॉसेस लेना भी सीखना आना चाहिए, क्योंकि हमारे मार्केट में वी आर ओनली राइट फॉर 50 to 60% ऑफ द टाइम.
Oh, absolutely, Vishal bhai. Perfect.
Okay. So Mayuresh ji, आप एक क्वेश्चन होल्ड कर सकते हैं? समथिंग वेरी अर्जेंटली हैज कम अप. Maybe you can divert this question. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll be back. Just give me 2 minutes back. Sorry about that.
Pakka. So Vivek, let me come to you. Pankaj shared a very interesting anecdote in terms of how he looks at the Sensex, right? Now, when you are going through these market phases, and obviously O'Neill has put that, Mark has put that when a bear market comes or when a cycle turns, it actually is a right time in terms of creating your studies for the next bull run leaders that will come through. You told that when you shift to the core portfolio, you pick a leading sector, right? Any kind of light that you can throw that when a market probably turns or when it is going through a next phase in the market itself, how do you identify those 1, 2, 3 sectors that might actually be the bull winners of the next phase of the market?
Right. So very, very interesting question, right? So basically, the idea is, जैसे मैं overall portfolio के भी बात करूँ, so I can totally relate with what Pankaj bhai was saying. See, when we are doing swing, right, when the market is actually in a acceleration mode, and if you are able to get, even I attended Mark Minori's last workshop also, like last year, November, what he did. So he had an interesting topic called mind-blowing math. So basically the idea is to have these kind of 7 to 8 positions which are compounding 10 to 15% in the portfolio, and remaining we break even, we compound in a 3-digit return actually, right? So that is on the satellite side of philosophy. And when the market is not in a good uptrend, we basically go into cash. And on the core side of portfolio, right? So core side is more long-term and it is mostly on weekly and monthly chart. So we don't want to take out cash, because being in the market, having that compounding engine going on, as Ankur bhai said, is very important. And there, the plan is basically you remove sectors which are not showing strength, which are going below the relative strength mark, and you ride the sectors which are basically showing strength and could be emerging winner of the market. Now, step 1, which I do is I see a price volume action in the entire cluster of the sector, right?
Okay.
So I'll just show you example how I've done it. So initially it was in Excel. I've just created a small thing around it. I'll just share the screen.
Sure.
So what I do is basically I've mapped all the sectors with a subsector, right? So say for example, on any particular day, like on 27 September today, if say a lot of companies in the building and heavy material project is coming in the screen, I know that there is some price volume action going in this particular sector, right?
Okay.
And then I freeze down those 2-3 sectors. Ki, haan, bank mein lag raha hai, see like commercial banks, so many companies are coming, right? So you see that banks mein aa raha hai, auto mein aa raha hai, whatever number of sectors are there. And then I try to see the trend around it. So I basically then filter down the sector. So say for example, I take a pharma as of now, okay, say healthcare, pharma drugs. And I see whether that particular sector is coming again and again in my screen. So rather than seeing one company's price volume action, I see the trend of a particular sector coming again and again. Okay. Next thing, what I see is I go to our, MarketSmith tool, and then you have industry sector classification, right? Group classification.
Perfect.
And if the number of companies also, resonate with this, like if more number of companies starts coming there and start making relative strength high, I basically boil down into that sector. And after seeing that sector, what I do is I feel that I don't know which company out of that sector will move. Right. So what I want to do is I want to pick the strength in that particular sector. So say, for example, if I give example of a recent fall, right? In May, June, the fall happened. What happened was, if we see the CNX auto index itself,
wasn't enough trend.
Yeah. So if we see CNF Nifty Auto, it was making a bullish pattern. Like June, it was forming all-time high when the entire market was like struggling to get up. Correct. And it was forming the basis that time, right? So if a sector index itself is making all-time highs, new highs with a base formation, then we should look at that, right? Market is basically telling us that basically look at us. And then you find out within that sector, which are the companies which are, giving these kind of, patterns. So say, for example, Eicher Motor at that point of time, it was actually doing a base breakout. Like if you see in this entire period, it was forming the base, and in the mid of June, it has completed the base. And as soon as the market started going up, it was like the first one to make all-time high. Right?
Absolutely.
So this is where, we take 2 to 3 or 4 positions in the, core portfolio, which are sector leaders, and among those leaders, which are leading and showing strength, and then average up those companies which keep moving higher. So we basically take a tracking position and then average up the winners. That is how, I follow in terms of sector leading. And same way, any sector which is not showing strength, we replace that in the core portfolio.
So that's the mechanism, Vivek, that you use. कि अगर वो हो रहा है तो 1% का 0.5 लेके आओ, and then if it's still not performing, then exit completely. Correct. So that is more on the swing side. Here I use monthly charts basically. Okay.
So here it is more longer term horizon which I follow. But on the swing side, it is weekly and then 0.5% allocation and then averaging up.
Fair enough. So a follow-up question, Pankaj bhai, to you, and with Vivek bhai to you, and then with everybody as well. Once you've taken positions and you've pyramided your way up, right? What O'Neill and Mark have taught us, they've also taught us to ride our winners. So at some stage, right, you will exit these stocks. Maybe a substantial run-up has happened. You define that as climax stops in certain cases that are happening. What is that defining moment for you? I think, कब आप बोलते हो कि I have probably had a huge run in this stock, and now probably is the time to get out. I think, is there a way that you do it? Is there a defined scientific process that you follow? And rules?
Yeah,
Vivek bhai for you, and then I can follow with Pankaj bhai as well. So Vivek bhai, because he's completing, unko confirm. Or Pankaj bhai, then you can continue with that.
Yeah. So basically here I follow the simple, multiple indicators approach. I don't apply too much head into it. So basically I ride the trend until the trend is on. And we give back some profit, like how William O'Neill also does, right? That you give back some profit, you can't time the top, you can't time the bottom. And as soon as, the triggers, indicators are triggering, I exit. So basically, see, this is like a classic example of one of the stock which I had in my portfolio earlier on IEX, right? So the entire platform businesses like CDSL, IEX, InfoEdge, everything was moving during the year of COVID and after that. And then, suddenly the downtrend started. So of course the lower lows and everything will start, the classic Dow theory. It might be slightly late exit. So that's where I follow indicators like volatility stop, I follow parabolic SAR, and as soon as those triggers, I religiously get out of that. So this is like the kind of trend following I do on a weekly chart, and even this same thing can be done on a monthly chart as well. It will have a slightly later exit, but it like kind of does the job.
Oh, fair enough, Vivek. Pankaj ji, आपको अगर कुछ on the same lines.
सर, इसमें जहां तक मेरी इन्वेस्टिंग एंड ट्रेडिंग की बात है, मेरा दो टाइप का पोर्टफोलियो है. नंबर 1 स्विंग ट्रेडिंग विच इज फॉर 1 to 3 वीक, एंड नंबर 2 पोजिशनल इन्वेस्टिंग या ट्रेडिंग विच इज फॉर 3 वीक to 10 वीक. अब आज मैं स्विंग ट्रेडिंग का एग्जांपल लेता हूं आपके सामने. आज ही का आप एग्जांपल लीजिए. मैं मॉर्निंग में गैप अप हुआ, जैसे ही गैप अप हुआ तो हमारी जो पोजीशन थी स्विंग की, जो हमने कल क्रिएट की थी क्लोजिंग में या क्लोजिंग से पहले, उस पोजीशन को मॉर्निंग में सबको एग्जिट किया, और उसमें से लगभग 12-1 बजे के आसपास आपने देखा होगा कि बाजार रेड पे था, लेकिन आल कार्गो ये चीज मुझे मेरे सारे स्टॉक्स में से जो मैंने आज मॉर्निंग में सेल किए थे, उसमें से ये ऑल कार्गो प्रॉफिट लॉस देने लग गया. इट मींस कि वो रिलेटिवली स्ट्रेंथ शो कर रहा था. तो 380 में मैंने इसको वापस कवर किया और वापस परचेज किया फॉर स्विंग ट्रेडिंग, और आज ही आपने लास्ट में 394 के आसपास मैंने कुछ 50% पोजीशन सेल की है. इन ऑन द अपोजिट साइड कुछ स्टॉक्स ऐसे थे जिन्होंने उस मॉर्निंग के बाद में भी जिस भाव में मैंने सेल किया उस भाव को शाम तक रिक्लेम नहीं कर पाए. लाइक आप देखिए अडानी इंटरप्राइजेस, और इसी तरह से आप लीजिए एक्शन कंस्ट्रक्शन, महिंद्रा हॉलिडे रिसोर्ट. ये सब चीजें वो थी जो परफॉर्म नहीं कर रही, यानी कि रिलेटिवली कमजोर वीकनेस दिखा रही, तो इनको कोई ट्रेड नहीं किया. दूसरी तरफ हम देखें कि इंडियन होटल ये आज मॉर्निंग से ही स्ट्रेंथ दिखा रहा था और 318 के आसपास आते थे, रिलेटिवली बेटर परफॉर्म करने लग गया, जबकि बाजार परफॉर्म नहीं कर रहा था. तो ये अपने आप में एक इंडिकेशन था कि ये चीज आउट परफॉर्म कर रही है, और आज ही इसने 3% का स्विंग दिया, और अभी भी मैं कैरी करके पोजीशन लेके आया हूँ. बस सेम स्ट्रेटेजी रहती है हमारे पास लॉन्ग टर्म पोर्टफोलियो में भी.
ओके,
जो हमारे विनर्स हैं, जो रिलेटिवली स्ट्रेंथ शो कर रहे हैं, आउट ऑफ 6 to 8 स्टॉक्स जो आपके पोर्टफोलियो में है, वो स्टॉक को आप होल्ड करने की कोशिश करें. जबकि जनरल साइकोलॉजी ये कहती है हमें कि जो हमारे जिसमें हमें प्रॉफिट बुक हो रहा है वो तो कर ले, जिसमें जो हमें लॉस दे रहा है उसको लॉस में देकर उसको एग्जिट, उसकी डिलीवरी छोड़ देंगे. यहाँ हमने उल्टा किया और आज वही चीज हमें बेनिफिट देके गई है. आज मैंने ट्विटर पे भी स्क्रीन शेयर की है लोगों के साथ, जिसमें आप देख सकते हैं जो चीज प्रॉफिट दे रही थी वही होल्ड की हुई है, बाकी चीजें होल्ड नहीं की हुई है. बस यही सबसे बेस्ट एग्जांपल होता है, और यही हमें विलियम ओनील ने से हमने सीखा है.
Perfect, Pankaj ji. Thank you so much for sharing that. Vishal, you're back.
Yes.
So you were continuing in terms of both your risk management tools or practices that you follow, and on similar thoughts that you have got on the same.
Sure. So let me just talk about when do you decide to sell out of the stock. I actually don't average on the upside, क्योंकि वो एक हर एक की अपनी अपनी एक philosophy होती है कि भाई I'm not very comfortable on averaging up. But what I always look out for exit position, अगर एक climax stop जो climax volume होता है, that is one of the positions where I want to sell in the strength. Usually we say कि never sell in your strength, but that's what I believe. जब भी आपको एक अच्छा सा move मिल जाता है, it is better to sell out on your strength, and that is where your जो green candle पे पूरी दुनिया क्या करती है, if you ask me, green candle पे buy करती है और red candle पे बेचती है. And I think so if you go back in the history, the money has been bad when the candle is red, and the sell when the candle is green. So uska ulta karo, to I think so there is a higher probability which kind of gets into you. Secondly, when it talks about the risk management, obviously jo simple math models hote hain, 10% of the portfolio should be in one stock. So we take about 10 stocks, not more than that, because unko track karna hi bahut badi baat ho jati hai.
Absolutely.
And the most important thing that I'm very short term in nature. I do a lot of algo related work. So I have my own set of strategies. I have my predefined rules that is defined in my system. So actually वो भी एक part of risk management है, क्योंकि मैं थोड़ा emotional ज़्यादा हूँ. So I don't let that emotion come into my way. I let the computer do the work. तो जैसे आप GTT order हो गए आपके, तो वो GTD ऑर्डर डाल के छोड़ दिया, या फिर अगर ऑप्शन ट्रेडिंग स्ट्रेटेजीज कर रहे हैं तो लेट द कंप्यूटर डू द स्टफ, नॉट मी.
तो just interrupting here, विशाल भाई, जो आपके algos आपने डिजाइन किए हैं, right? Markets are changing. Markets change at nobody's will, right? जो Thursday को था, Friday correct हुआ, Monday it corrected, today it was flat.
Right.
How do your algos react? I mean, do you have certain tweaks that are done अगर market ऐसे react हुआ तो, or does your human brain then starts coming in कि market में थोड़ा tweak कर लेता हूँ algo को? I mean, how does that?
हाँ, नहीं, I think it's a brilliant question, Mayuresh भाई. अगर वो tweak करा तो फिर problem है. So, in fact, as you have been constantly asking, what do you think market will do? And my constant answer is, I don't know. That philosophy continues in my algo as well.
Sure.
So, if you want to build, and how do we go about building algos, is very simple. अगर आप market में देखोगे, at least let's talk about intraday first. Okay? एक intraday trend day आता है, जैसे कि खुला और ऊपर ही जाता गया, या खुला और नीचे ही जाता गया. तो it's not what we call as a trend day. Then there are days where we have a V-shaped day. Market खुला, नीचे गया, सबके stop losses trigger किए और 12:30 के बाद वापस ऊपर आ गया. Then market has taken a new form, W or M shape. नीचे खुला, नीचे गया, सबके stop loss trigger किए, जैसे ऊपर आया तो सब लोग वापस चढ़ गए, वो वापस trigger किया, वापस stop loss किया और वापस ऊपर कर गया.
तो इसको बोलते हैं दोनों साइड से मारना.
Yes, and these are the days if you can bifurcate your thought process.
Yes.
Okay, market usually ये 3 पैटर्न या इससे एक चौथी पैटर्न कर सकती है. Now what we do is we develop our algos for all the market condition. We don't know which market condition is going to play out today.
Correct.
So we say कि okay, इसमें हम लोग ने equal distribution कर दिया. Mainly हमारा पैसा trend day से आता है, लेकिन जो V और W में जितना कम पैसा हम लोग तोड़े, वही हमारा focus होता है, and that is our risk management.
Okay. So,
putting a lot of algos, sticking to 1% of your capital on a given day, 7 to 8% जो विलियम ने बोला था stock में, investing में. So these are the basic. We don't do any fancy stuff. Because हम लोग believe करते हैं जो simple है वही आप execute कर पाओगे. क्योंकि सबसे important चीज है execution. अगर आप भले कितना भी complex model कर दो, लेकिन अगर वो एग्जीक्यूशन के टाइम एग्जीक्यूट नहीं कर पाओगे तो डिफिकल्ट है, और यूजुअली जो कॉम्प्लेक्स होते हैं उसको एग्जीक्यूशन में बहुत टाइम लग जाता है.
वो एब्सोल्युटली विशाल भाई, इनफैक्ट मैंने देखे हैं कि ऐसे 8-10 स्क्रीन रहते हैं, मुझे कभी समझा ही नहीं है वो. मैं अपना लैपटॉप
ट्रेडिंग तो वॉच लिस्ट देख के ही करते हैं. ट्रेडिंग में वो वॉच लिस्ट का M2M ही देखते हैं, बाकी वो चार्ट ही रहते हैं.
So to bring it very simply, your algos are based on a predefined rules. Your algos are not tweaked depending on how market is changing on a daily basis. But do you have a look at that on every quarter or every 6 months in terms of how
market evolves? See, एक time पे arbitrage चलता था. Then there was a time for delta. Now there is a time for something option selling. आजकल मैं बहुत travel कर रहा हूँ. अब believe नहीं करोगे, मैं अभी इंदौर में था, मैं सूरत में था, मैं अहमदाबाद में था, और बड़ी बड़ी कॉन्फ्रेंस 400, 450 लोग आते हैं. मैं एक क्वेश्चन पूछता हूँ, भाई स्टॉक मार्केट के कौन कौन करता है, तो सबके हाथ खड़े हो जाते हैं. फिर मैं पूछता हूँ उनको कि भाई फ्यूचर कितने लोग करते हैं, तो थोड़े कम हो जाते हैं. ऑप्शन बाइंग कितने करते हैं, तो और थोड़े कम हो जाते हैं. 90% ऑफ द ट्रेडर्स आर ऑप्शन सेलर्स इन द मार्केट. नाउ इमेजिन जिस तरह एवरी पर्सन एवरी घर में ऑप्शन सेलिंग कर रहा है, द एज इज गोइंग टू रिड्यूस. So we actually also evaluate our strategies based on a quarterly basis, and see whether we are losing the edge or we have any other market dimension that we can incorporate in our overall bouquet of thinking process.
Perfect. नहीं, इनफैक्ट एक मीम चल रही है ट्विटर पे, आपने देखेगी नहीं, ऑल यू गाइस, विवेक, विशाल, पंकज जी, अंकुर जी, कि पूरा क्राउड देखा गया है, 2 बोर्ड्स लगे हैं, रिस्क मैनेजमेंट और ऑप्शन ट्रेडिंग.
Yes.
और एक ही बंदा रिस्क मैनेजमेंट में है, बाकी सब ऑप्शन.
Yes.
So let me come back to Ankur now, because we've discussed a lot in terms of investment philosophy, strategy, so on and so forth. Let us talk a little bit about investor psychology. Vishal just touched point on that. Ankur, one thing that happens is that a lot of investors get biased in terms of their investment decisions. किसी को लगता है because you're a long-term investors कि stock अगर lowly priced है, so I think that's a brilliant investment to be done. Because there is a lot more that can happen when it comes to that stock compared to sector leaders. So that is one part of the question. And second part, do you have some bifurcations done? Like you have a large cap portfolio, a mid cap and a small cap portfolio. And if you have predefined these portfolios, what is the quantum in each portfolio that you carry? like Vishal, he says he does a quarterly thing on his algo thing. How much do you review these portfolios in what time periodicities? Or agar churn karna hai, to what is that decision making? So if you can do it in the next 4 or 5 minutes, I know it's a lot, but if you can probably do that. Ankur, you're on mute. Up mute.
Yes, Mayuresh. The first thing, as you brought out, the main first thing which matters for a long-term investor is the control on the psychology. Like Pankaj sir also said, for a long-term investor, you don't have to be nimble on your feet. You don't have to be very quick, but you have to be patient, and psychology should be under your own control. Now I'll tell you, long-term investors also make a lot of mistakes. Mainly out of 10 times, 4 to 5 times, I'm also wrong. I'll give you an example. Like you must be remembering, there was a stock called Reliance Defense of Mr. Anil Ambani.
Koi bhulega nahi.
Yeah. In 2005, or I think 2007 or 8, it was around 2007 or 8, it was around 40, 50 rupees. So I remember I had built up my position from between 40 to 50 rupees. I had built up a good position there. And that stock was talked of town those days. It was having many MOUs with international defense companies, and it was as if the star has arrived at the defense procurement and defense stock scene. So I built up a fairly good position in it, and Mr. Anil Ambani, the commentary of the promoter was also very, very positive. And the stock started moving up and moved till 130 or 35, if my memory serves me correctly. What I did that time, at around 110, I took out my principal plus 50% of that from the Reliance Defense stock. Because this is the philosophy I follow. I generally don't take out principal plus 50%. I generally take out, once a stock reaches 200% of gain, I take out principal plus 25%. So the rest of the stock in my portfolio is free for me. Out of those free stocks, 6 to 7 always give me very good returns, and 3 actually become duds. I don't have any shame in admitting Reliance Infra became a dud. Suzlon became a dud, although I made a very good profit in Suzlon, became a dud. And Reliance Defense also became a dud. I think it was renamed to Reliance Naval. It is, I think, under NCLT proceedings right now. So you cannot know which stock in a very long term, how will it perform. So it is better to take out your principal and at least 25 to 30% of the profits with you. And after that, let the luck carry you, and you have to keep monitoring that stock. I'm not saying that you don't monitor the stock. You have to keep monitoring, but your I would say the tension levels will totally reduce, because the stocks which I'm holding, they're totally free. It has already given me 25-30% returns. So this is how I follow. Now large caps. For a new investor, once I was a newbie, my first share was Reliance. I still accumulated. Last 20 years, I still keep accumulating Reliance. I don't have any shame in admitting. I like Reliance very much, and I think it still has a lot of potential to do well. Large caps, my first 10 stocks were all blue chips, all large cap, still holding. I think I only booked profit in Nestle and MRF at certain stage. I totally exited Nestle and MRF because I thought it might not grow, but then I was again proven wrong. I exited MRF at 40,000. It is at much more than that. But what I believe, mid caps give you the best opportunity, because mid caps have proven that we can grow. The biggest risk is in small caps and SMEs, stocks which trade in lots. I have taken 1 or 2 SMEs also. I am exposed to that, but then I monitor them almost on a daily basis. I keep tweeting or messaging to their promoters on WhatsApp. How is it going? Because there you need the most attention. SMEs are like young kids. A kid till the time he's 3-4, the parents have to look after them. Kuch ye na kha le, kuch chot na laga le. SMEs are like that. I don't advise any newbie to enter into SMEs. Once you have experience and with time you develop a gut feeling. So this is how I go. Mayuresh, and for a new investor, I would suggest stock reaches 200% gain, book 100% plus 20 to 25% and sit. Invest that money in some other stock, some momentum stock like Pankaj sir or Vishal. Follow them on Twitter. If they're suggesting a stock, research, and you will be able to hold only the stock on which you are totally convinced about. You will not be able to hold a stock if you are not convinced about. As Vishal brought out, red candle, you will sell it. After 1 month, it will go again far beyond your buying or selling price, and you will feel sad. So develop your own conviction. Follow all the good investors. Become part of like MarketSmith India. Utilize these tools. Utilize services of people like Pankaj sir, Vivek, Vishal. Certainly, and you will grow. You will grow. In India is going to grow for next 50 or 70 years. This is our time. We are arriving at the global scene.
Oh, absolutely, Ankur bhai. In fact, Vivek, Pankaj bhai, Vishal all agree on the same, that the next few decades are going to be India. Just that question that you probably missed, how many stocks should be there ideally? I mean, do you have that kind of a criteria set in?
As of now, I am having 40 stocks in 4 different portfolios, but I don't suggest any investor to go that way right now. If you are starting and planning to be a long-term investor, you just focus on 20 stocks. You take 20 stocks, invest 5 to 10% of your portfolio, 5% each in 20 stocks, monitor them, their results quarter on quarter. See for 2 quarters, the stocks which are giving you the maximum returns, start shifting your money from the laggards to the leading. And then you come to 10 stocks. Make this 10 stocks a portfolio, follow it, add on to the positions for 3 years, and think of making a new portfolio only after 3 years. This is my philosophy. Everyone can be different. This is how I follow. And after 3 years, then I realized that my companies are strong, they're growing, and they don't need that much nurturing and daily monitoring. Then they sit in my portfolio for long term, and I start concentrating as the times change. I start concentrating on other companies.
Perfect, Ankur Bhai. I think that's a question that I just want to carry with Vivek, Pankaj Bhai, and Vishal as well. So Vivek, and I'll go in tandem. Vivek, Vishal, and then Pankaj Bhai. So what Ankur was saying in terms of the number of stocks that he holds, do you have a fixed criteria in your core satellite as well as your core portfolio? Do you actually go by that? कि मैं 15 के ऊपर जाऊंगा नहीं, or likewise, or does that change looking at market conditions?
Yeah, so it's same. I think so. Core, the idea is to have 15 to 20 stocks, 5 sector, and each sector 3 to 4 stocks. Minimum 5% fully allocation to 8%, like 5 to 8% in one position. So 15 to 20 at a time. So 70% is basically around that in the core portfolio. And satellite, when I start, it's a tracking position, could be 0.5 to 1%.
Sure.
That could be any number of positions as far as market condition is there. But the full position after averaging up should be ultimately 5%. In satellite, I keep a cap of 5%. I don't go beyond 5%. So 6 full positions in my satellite and around 14 positions in my core. Total on a portfolio level, 20 to 25 maximum on a full allocation basis. There could be so many tracking positions.
Perfect.
And when market falls, this 6 position will go to 0 and my core portfolio position will remain intact.
Perfect. Just a follow-up, Vivek, on that, and then I'll move to Vishal and Pankaj Bhai as well. 5 sector मिले नहीं तो क्या?
No, path sector is like a mega trend sector, right? So that is always going to be there. Like financials is a mega trend. वो India में जैसे equity market है वैसे रहने ही वाला है, right? Tech is a mega trend. We can't live without tech. So as a 5 mega trend पकड़ लिए, everything else which is short term, जैसे paper, sugar, cyclicals, everything is satellite portfolio.
Perfect. So that answers the question. Vishal, to you on the same. So in your algos, do you carry any fixated number? Yeah, कैसे हो?
Sure. So before I answer that, I really want to go back to Vivek, because there is a very big mystery around your satellite portfolio. So what is this satellite portfolio? Everybody's wanting to know.
वो ऊपर दीजिए, इधर ही है.
So satellite is basically, anything where you are not sure. Basically, it's like कि 10वीं कक्षा में कोई आया, हमें पता नहीं है उसका ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड को 1 to 9 स्टैंडर्ड तक क्या परफॉर्म किया, एंड इफ समबडी आस्क यू कि इस पे बैट लगाओ ये हार्वर्ड जाएगा कि नहीं, राइट? सो दैट इज सैटेलाइट पोर्टफोलियो. एंड कोर पोर्टफोलियो इज लाइक्स ऑफ एशियन पेंट्स, पीडीलाइट की उसने प्रूव कर दिया है भाई, 10वीं में भी टॉप हुआ है, 12th में भी टॉप हुआ है, इंजीनियरिंग में टॉप हुआ है, तो देयर इज अ वेरी हाई प्रोबेबिलिटी कि वो जाएगा आईआईएम या हार्वर्ड चला जाएगा. सो बेसिकली ऑल माय स्पेशल सिचुएशन, एनी बायबैक, डीलिस्टिंग, दोस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स, all the cyclicals, paper stocks ho gaya, your sugar sector, where basically entry and exit needs to be swift. That is all part of satellite, and where you can sit, relax, coffee pee sakte, 1 mahine ka chart dekh sakte hai. That is all core portfolio.
Perfect.
Thank you. So my answer is very quick, Mayuresh. So minimum 8 and maximum 10. That's where my concentration of the portfolio remains.
And again, these are largely आपका तो कोई sector agnostic है.
No, I'm not a sector, kind of focused, because I'm, quick in, quick out. So for me, if the sector is moving well and if the stocks are breaking out, so I can have like 3-4 stocks in that same sector, because that sector is showing the strength. So I don't try to, but I'm also quick to get out of my stocks also. With the slightest hint, I'll be the first one to run out of the position.
And typically, Vishal, I think as the sector turns or it is sustaining at high levels, you just take your positions in and you just trail. Is that the way you do it?
Yes, that is correct.
And for swing traders, I think what is the best way to trade? Yeah, I think this is a very pertinent question, because I think it gets asked a lot.
So for me, if you ask me, there is only one way I trade, is buying an all-time high stocks.
That is the best.
I don't do anything else. Any stocks that is an all-time high, is my favorite. Obviously, there are in the bull run, there are many stocks which are hitting all-time high stocks.
Sure.
So what we do is like have a ranking mechanism of 1 week return, 1 month return, 1 quarter return, and you kind of have a kind of filter where there is a continuous momentum going on, which shows that there is a stock has been into a momentum from the last week, quarter, so going into that.
Perfect. Pankaj bhai, आपका जो swing trading है that you carry for 1 to 3 weeks, your portfolio trading for 3 to 10 weeks, limited number होता है या कैसे होता है?
सर अब यहाँ दो बात हुई. नंबर एक तो डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टिंग और दूसरा इन्वेस्टिंग लाइक अंकुर की तरह जो इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है वो मेरा 100% पोर्टफोलियो होता है म्यूचुअल फंड में, जहां मैं ये मान के चलता हूं, जहां मैं ब्लाइंडली फॉलो करता हूं वॉरेन बफेट को और अंकुर जी को कि बाय एंड फॉरगेट और लेट द म्यूचुअल फंड मैनेजर डू व्हाट ही वांट टू डू और उसको अपना डिसीजन लेने देते हैं. अब आते हैं हमारे डायरेक्ट पोर्टफोलियो में. तो मेरा एज ए इन्वेस्टर सब लोगों को भी यही सजेशन रहता है कि आप एटलीस्ट 50% आपका पोर्टफोलियो म्यूचुअल फंड में रखिए, जिससे आप कंपेयर कर सकें कि आपका पोर्टफोलियो क्या म्यूचुअल फंड के पोर्टफोलियो को आउट परफॉर्म कर रहा है या नहीं कर रहा है. यदि आप नहीं कर रखा है, आफ्टर 2 to 5 years यदि आप देख रहे हैं कि आप उसको आउट परफॉर्म नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, तो बेटर है कि आप फंड मैनेजर को आपका पोर्टफोलियो दीजिए और लेट देम मैनेज. तो लाइक अंकुर को दीजिए, चाहे विशाल मेहता को दीजिए, चाहे विवेक को दीजिए या किसी भी एसेट मैनेजमेंट कंपनी को मैनेजमेंट कर दीजिए. अब दूसरी बात आती है कि स्विंग ट्रेडिंग की. स्विंग ट्रेडिंग में 6 to 8 स्टॉक्स मेरा आइडियल है. इससे यदि कभी भी ज्यादा होता है तो मुझे ऐसा अनइजीनेस फील होने लगता है कि मैं अपने पोर्टफोलियो में से क्या चीज कम करूं. सेम पोजीशन हमारी पोजिशनल में 6 to 8 स्टॉक्स, इन वर्स्ट के सिनेरियो 12 स्टॉक्स, जबकि मार्केट ऐसा लगता है कि बहुत सारी एम्पल अपॉर्चुनिटीज है बाजार में, तो मुझे लगता है कि इससे 12 भी हो जाते हैं तो मुझे रिड्यूस करके 10 लाने की कोशिश करता हूं या 8 करने की कोशिश करता हूं. बट आइडियल साइज इज 6 to 8, बोथ स्विंग एंड पोजिशनल. नाउ थर्ड एक मैं बात करना चाहूंगा जो अंकुर ने भी बात की है अभी, एसएमई पोर्टफोलियो. मेरे 6 to 8 और 10 स्टॉक्स एसएमई स्टॉक्स में भी मेरे पोर्टफोलियो में रहते हैं. वहां में ये स्टॉप लॉस और ये बहुत ज्यादा फॉलो नहीं करता. लाइक एक अच्छे कॉन्सेप्ट को देखकर वेट करने की कोशिश करता हूं जो आपको मल्टीबैगर दे सके. ये मेरा टोटल पोर्टफोलियो की पोजीशनिंग रहती है.
परफेक्ट पंकज जी. इन्वेस्ट आज फॉर कल, ये जो आपके पीछे लिखा है, दैट इज परफेक्टली मैचिंग इन व्हाट योर थॉट्स आर. विशाल भाई, लेट मी कम टू द इन्वेस्टर साइकोलॉजी. Guys, it is 8:53, right? So can we extend it for 5 minutes कि आपका कुछ schedule है, because this is becoming very interesting. ये खत्म ही नहीं हो सकता. मुझे लगता है और 2 घंटा भी चलेगा. I mean, if you guys are okay, otherwise we'll start wrapping up in the next 5 minutes. So Vishal bhai, Vivek bhai, Ankur bhai, Pankaj bhai, another 10 minutes is fine.
Yeah.
Super. Thank you so much.
और आपने डिनर ले चुके हैं आप लोग, तो इसलिए आपको भी जल्दी है नहीं.
मुझे तो जल्दी है ही नहीं, इसलिए आप पूछ रहे हो. मुझे तो इसके बाद सोने जाना है. So Vishal bhai, I think let's touch base in terms of investor psychology, because that becomes very important aspect as well. मार्केट जब फ्री फ्लोइंग होते हैं, अपट्रेंड में होते हैं, सब पे मूड ठीक होते हैं, अचानक घूमने लगते हैं, जब लॉसेस लगने जाते हैं, तो इन्वेस्टर साइकोलॉजी स्टार्ट्स टेकिंग अ हिट. What are your recommendations in terms of some techniques, right? That retail, specifically retail investors, institution के पास तो ample opportunities होती है. Retail को follow करना चाहिए, specifically in terms of their approach towards market. Swing trading के हिसाब से एक, and then I'll ask Ankur in terms of long-term investing. So with you specifically swing, with Vivek bhai, Ankur bhai, it's largely going to be more in terms of medium term.
यहाँ पे मैं थोड़ा ना डिसएग्री करूंगा मयूरेश, कि मुझे कोई बोलता है ना कि इन्वेस्टर, अंकुर, I definitely kind of agree with, he's an investor and like a lot of people, but I still believe, this is my philosophy and you can hold me wrong, but if you are buying with an intention to sell, maybe 1 year down the line, 5 years down the line, or 20 years down the line, you are a trader. The definition of the trading changes. If you are buying a stock only for dividend income and capital appreciation, then you are an investor, like it your house rent or anything. Okay, so that's one thing. So let me talk about the trader psychology. I still believe we are all traders in terms of the diversification. And as I told you, this is my definition. We can always be, hold me wrong for that.
Vishal bhai, ये Twitter पे मत डालना.
I've been put it out on a lot of things for that. Secondly, what really helped me, and I would really emphasize on, is looking at the law of large number. Okay, and what does that mean? And I'll give you an example where it changed completely the perspective for me. And I have admitted this many, many times. I have started trading out, a profitable trader and a loss-making trader. For a good 20 years, I have been in the market. First 10 to 15 years, I was a break-even. But the real journey of me as a consistent profitable trader came in the last 5 years. And what changed? So I attended this workshop by a guy called Madan Kumar, and it just completely changed the perspective. So he ran this trading strategy or whatever you want to call it, and he put out its numbers, okay, the PNL numbers for every week. So when you put your PNL on a calendar, every week was red, hardly few green numbers. Okay, that means it was a shitty strategy. It was making losses week after week after day after day after day. And I said, nobody would trade that strategy. Then he clicked once. That daily number turned into a weekly number. Slowly and steadily, that red number reduced. Then he clicked one more time. Okay. That weekly turned into a monthly number. The sea of red actually started turning little green. Then he clicked one more time. Quarterly, hardly few reds. Click one more time. Yearly, he never made a loss. The problem with all of us, and when I started out, is when I'm in the market, I'm into instant gratification. Ankur is an exception, and a lot of our panelists are exception. But as a trader, I'm talking about, we are living in a world of instant gratification. जब भी Instagram की reel मेरी 10 सेकंड में होनी चाहिए. So when I'm buying a stock, okay, I'm wanted to have the profit now, not in days or weeks intraday. So what really helped me to change the psychologist thinking and putting myself in thinking of large numbers. Okay, boss, is my system performing on a quarterly basis or a 6 monthly basis? Then only I will continue with the system, or I will continue or stick to the system. Because if I'm going to go lesser than that, I will keep on changing the guru. I will keep on changing the philosophy. I will keep on changing the stocks. I will keep on changing and blame the world and not myself. And that's where I say okay, the risk management really takes a place, or looking at the large number. So that helped me as a trader's psychology.
Brilliant, Vishal bhai. Thank you so much for that. In fact, Vivek would have read Mark Minervini's book, and the last conversation, Vishal, Vivek, Pankaj ji, Ankur, that we conducted at MarketSmith India, it was more in terms of his psychology book, Market Secrets of Winning, right? And बहुत chapters उन्होंने लिखे हैं. I think 2-3 chapters which actually stand out, which Vishal you are saying, right? To instill confidence in yourself, he actually puts a whiteboard in front of him, and he puts what his aim is in that whiteboard itself. He gave a few examples which I just would like to share, and let me go to the other panelists as well. The Olympic winning team, the US की थी, before the games even began, right? And they had their preliminary qualification round. उन्होंने actually the coach actually made winning Olympic medals. He created a platform as when that actual trophy ceremony is happening, and he instilled that mental confidence कि you're going out there and winning, and actually won that gold medal in Olympics. It's a very interesting book. I mean, if guys are interested in reading, please go through that. Vivek, coming to the same question that gets carried forward, right? बोलना बहुत आसान होता है. It's very easy to say, right? But when markets teach you the way that markets obviously teach all of us over the last 20 years, a few of the newbie investors who are there, right? And if somebody probably listens in, what are the key lessons that he should probably be taking in as a medium term, as a long-term investor as well? And what should he probably imbibe in terms of his entire investment journey? I mean, very quickly, if you can point that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And in fact, I had privilege to even interview Mark Minervini last year. So it was amazing. And in fact, I would like to quote him what he told. 2 words, okay, which all of us needs to follow is respect risk. Okay, yes. So each and every time, right, when we are buying, actually risk management is not something which we start deciding or start finding after we buy a position. It should be starting off our buying itself. Like when we are entering a position, that is where it should be decided that what we will do if this doesn't work for us, right? What if the market turns, or how we will behave if the stock is not behaving in the way we want it to, right? So that is where having that exit strategy right in place during the buying system is super important. Second, which I follow personally also is, having a kind of hobby away from market. So when we keep staring at the screen and keep refreshing the price, we feel like, we are at a control, but it's not like that, right? If we refresh the screen, it's not that the price will go in our favor. So whenever there are down days and whenever something is like कि भाई हमारे favor में नहीं आ रहा है, आज market खराब है, and our system is telling कि भाई आज कुछ करना नहीं है, तो read books, मैं उसको music day बोलता हूँ, तो I listen lot of songs, I do what I love to do so that market doesn't distract me कि भाई मुझे देखना है, right? Because as a investor or as a trader, right, when we make money is when we actually ride a trend. Even if like Ankur bhai is putting a money, actually the mega trend, when a Titan picks up, you make money. If the trend doesn't pick up, we don't make money, right? So jab trend hai, tab we need to participate. Otherwise, we don't need to participate, right? And even in terms of math, which Mark said, right, we don't need, actually our perception is कि हमें daily कुछ न कुछ profit चाहिए, only then it will make. He actually showed the math that if 37 positions in a year are profitable and remaining places you just break even, right? You just break even and manage your risk. You can make 3 digits return. And he has done it. He has proved in the last US investing championship, right? So the idea is, respect risk all the time. And whenever your system is telling not to do it, just have that discipline and have something else so that we are distracted in a better way.
Perfect.
So that is what I follow in my personal journey.
Perfect. And in fact, Vivek bhai, very important point you put forth. रोज trading करना जरूरी नहीं है.
जरूरी नहीं है. Yes.
Absolutely, it is not needed. See the market condition. Vishal will totally agree. I'm pretty sure of that. Absolutely जरूरी नहीं है. See the condition, check your risk reward profile, and go ahead with that. Pankaj ji, if you want to add very quickly in terms of.
I want to speak about the investor psychology. जैसा कि जेसी लिवमोर ने कहा है कि there are only 2 emotions. One is one is hope, and second is fear. The problem is we hope as an investor hope when we should fear, and we fear when we should hope. तो जब भी हमने हमारा कोई स्टॉक बाय किया और वो बढ़ जाता है, तो मोस्ट ऑफ द इन्वेस्टर 80% इन्वेस्टर ये कहते हैं कि प्रॉफिट बुक करते हैं, कहीं ये आया हुआ प्रॉफिट चला न जाए. और जब वही जब स्टॉक जब 100 रुपए का लिया हुआ जब 120 की जगह 80 रह जाता है, तो वो अगेन होप करते हैं, वहां होप करते हैं जहां फियर करने की जरूरत है कि वो कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि और वापस मतलब और ज्यादा टूट जावे. ये नहीं सोच के वो ये सोचते हैं कि मेरा भाव तो जरूर आएगा तभी मैं सेल करूंगा. ये जो प्राइस पेड बायस है, जब इन्वेस्टर्स को उससे बाहर निकलना होगा. और इसके लिए एक ही तरीका है, उसका एक ही तरीका है, एस्टेब्लिश बाइंग एंड सेलिंग रूल्स डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम हिस्टोरिकल रिसर्च. जो भी आपने हिस्टोरिकल रिसर्च की है वहां से एक रूल्स बनाए, जो भी सब हम में से जितने भी लोग हैं यहाँ पर सभी का एक परफेक्ट रूल है. और उस रूल को जब भी हम ब्रेक करते हैं, तो विशाल जी अच्छी तरह से जानते हैं कि जब भी रूल ब्रेक करते हैं वो प्रॉफिट एक बार होता है, प्रॉफिट 9 बार होता है, लेकिन 10वीं बार का लॉस वो सारा प्रॉफिट ले जाता है. तो बेटर है कि हम एक रिसर्च करके एक रूल बनाए जैसा, और रूल नहीं हो हमारे पास तो बेटर है कि विलियम और नील को फॉलो कर लें और ब्लाइंड फॉलो करें, उसमें एक भी चेंजेस अपना रूल न करें. तो वो आपको राइट डेस्टिनेशन पर, जो आपका डेस्टिनेशन है कि मुझे वेल्थ क्रिएट करनी है, वो कर पाएगा. यदि एस्टेब्लिश नहीं किया और एस्टेब्लिश करने के बाद में फॉलो नहीं किया तो वो भी बेकार है. तो इसलिए सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है कि एस्टेब्लिश करें, और एस्टेब्लिश यदि माइंड में आप करेंगे ना, उसका कोई यूज नहीं है. वो आपका माइंड कभी भी आपको चेंज कर देगा. लेकिन आप अपने यहाँ स्क्रीन के सामने लिख के रख लें कि आपके क्या रूल्स है. और सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम इन्वेस्टर्स की क्या है कि वो जानते हैं कि व्हाट टू बाय एंड व्हेन टू बाय. दे डू नॉट स्पेंड इवन a single % of time or even 10% of time when and under which circumstances a stock must be sold. That is the biggest mistake. यदि हमने इन्वेस्टमेंट बाद में करना है, पहले ये डिसाइड करना है कि बेचना कब है. जिस दिन ये डिसाइड कर लेंगे उसके बाद में आप इन्वेस्टमेंट करेंगे तो ही बेटर है. अदरवाइज मुझे तो ऐसा लगता है किसी को इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए इस जर्नी में, इस मार्केट में आना ही नहीं चाहिए.
परफेक्ट पंकज जी, परफेक्ट. इनफैक्ट हमारे कैंसर लेवल 2 में वी गॉट अ स्पेशल सेक्शन वेबिनार में ऑन सेलिंग. उसी के ऊपर है सेलिंग एंड रिस्क मैनेजमेंट. वी गॉट अ डेडिकेटेड सेक्शन इन आवर वेबिनार ऑन दैट. आप जो बोल रहे थे ना रूल चेंजिंग का, एक उसमें भी मीम थी कि बड़ा ग्लास का बॉटल रखा था एक साइड पे वॉल स्ट्रीट पे, बोले मैं जब भी रूल बेचूं तोड़ूंगा खुद का तो $10 डाल दूंगा इसमें. तो उसका फिर वो बाद में नेक्स्ट स्टेप में दिखाया कि इतनी बड़ी बॉटल हो जाती है, बोलते कि मैंने इतने रूल तोड़े. So Ankur, one last thing on the same aspect itself, right? Long-term investing, fine. I think you hardly get psyched out in terms of market downfalls or drawdowns, because that for long-term investors is the best time to buy. But as you said, right, 3 or 4 stocks within even your long-term portfolios will become duds. How does that affect you? Because when you probably are investing, you're investing with a perspective कि यार मेरे सारे stock चलने चाहिए, right? But when they become absolute duds, or they become somewhere where it's very, very disappointing for even a long-term investor, having put your capital for a longer period of time, how do you react? If you want to just respond quickly, and I'll just go to the last question for all the balance.
Yeah, Mayuresh, as you brought out, it is very important to identify the multi-baggers as well as future multi-baggers also. And out of 10 stocks you pick up, 3 or 4 might turn duds, which has happened in my journey also.
Exactly.
What I do, as I told you, I have learned to build up my positions over one full quarter, over 3 months. So even after my research and slow build up of position over 3 months, even if the stock after that, the stock from my average purchase price is down 20%, then I start paying more attention to that stock. And my Lakshman Rekha is 35%. If over a 3 months averaging, the stock is 35% down from that averaging price, I totally exit. I fold my hands. I was wrong. Market has proven me wrong, and I just exit the stock. I don't look back to that stock. There are many stocks which have after 2-3 years they have done very well, but I don't have any regrets, because you meet new people, you meet new stocks, and they help you in your journey.
Oh, absolutely. Just one last question, guys.
Before we jump in, before we jump in, can I say 2 lines? And I think so that sums up for me the risk management and the psychology.
Go ahead, Vishal. Please.
So it's a very, very famous saying by Warren Buffett, right? Ankurji and Pankajji and Vivek kind of believes in that markets are nothing but transfer of wealth from an impatient investor to a patient investor.
Yeah.
But as I told you, that I'm more of a trader. So I can always say थोड़ा ट्यूनिंग कर दिया, अपना इंडियन वर्जन डाल दिया, मैं कालू टिक्की बना लिया उसको बर्गर का. So markets are nothing but a systematic transfer of money from an undisciplined trader to a disciplined trader. Nothing.
Perfect, Vishal bhai. Perfect. एक common question था. All you guys can jump in. Common question asked by a user: how do you define position sizing based on one's capital? Are there some fixed rules for that? Anybody wants to answer can jump in. Ankur, Vivek, Vishal. So जिसके कैपिटल के अनुसार अगर पोजीशन साइनिंग करनी हो तो कैसी होनी चाहिए? So for example, if one wants to deploy 1 lakh of rupees in a market, if 1 lakh is the capital, how will you deploy? If you've got a larger chunk of capital, how do you deploy? Is there a fixed rule? 1/3 करना है, half करना है? What is the way to go for? I mean, anybody can answer. Vivek, Vishal, Pankaj.
I think Vivek should answer this.
विवेक आपके ऊपर दे दिया है, the baton has been passed to you.
So position sizing में मैं simple ऐसे करता हूँ. See, basically my philosophy starts with, as I said, कि risk कितना है, right? So even if you are trader or investor, we want to first test the water. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि हम enter हुए and we put like 10% of capital and 20% it went down and we realized कि we made mistake, right? So as an investor also, that 2% of the entire portfolio capital is a big amount, and as a trader also it's a big amount, right? So the idea is what I follow is more like pyramiding, how William O'Neill and Mark Minervini, all those guys have taught. The philosophy remains the same, that basically you fund your future tranches with your profit of the first tranche, right? So that means that your first tranche should be big enough to at least give some delta so that you can fund your next tranche, and it should be small enough so that if you are wrong, you are not taken out in a big way, right? So basically I generally start with 0.5 to 1% of my portfolio in my satellite positions, and basically I assume that on an average, like Mark says, around 15% kind of swing he gets in the US market, and he trails by 8% stop loss. In Indian market, my experience is that move on a swing side of it is around 25%. So if you find a decent breakout stocks and proper VCP pattern, it gives like 25% kind of swing very easily in like at least 1 to 6 months time frame. So then the question is, how to basically reduce your risk. So if you are entering, say, 1% capital and it moves by like 7 to 8%, that is where I add my second, tranche. That is why I add 1 to 1.5%. And the idea is you trail your exit to your break-even point. So as soon as you are into second tranche, you are basically touching your break even. And that is very normal. Like getting a swing of 8% in Indian market in a positional, it's like no brainer. If you pick a right stock, that will happen in like few days. Pankaj ji will agree with that, right? He might be doing a lot of these. So then you basically break even. So my intention is first to minimize the risk in the first tranche. So that's where I don't enlarge it too much. The second step is how soon I can take it to the break even so that I don't lose my capital. Right. And then, I lock my profits around 8% where my first tranche was taken. So now, you are sure profitable. And then if you are really getting a winner, like recent example, if I give, all of you can watch this chart also, is Power Mac. I also shared on Twitter and on my Telegram also. That was a classic, VCP kind of breakout that happened, base breakout. And then it gave the same step kind of function. And if you are able to add 4 to 5% kind of tranche there, you make like at least 20-25% on an entire position. So the idea is when we are wrong, we lose only 0.2% kind of capital. When we are right, and even if we get like 7 to 8 such stocks in a year, which will be there in a bullish kind of scenario if the market remains in a bullish phase, the job is done. So it's not that we need to hunt for so many stocks, but we need to basically see how soon we can break even. That is the key. Like limiting the downside is the key.
Absolutely.
And I think Mayuresh bhai, even on the William O'Neill tool, like the MarketSmith, it's beautifully there, right? There is a blue line which tells you need to enter. Then there is a green and orange line.
Oh,
so that's like beautiful. And I'm simply amazed the kind of pattern that builds in, right? Blue dot hai, cup and handle ban gaya, and then you have line in terms of your levels also. Or kya chahiye as an investor?
So absolutely. So I think we have extended our time. Let me just quickly wrap in terms of all the insights that you wonderful panelists have given. Most of the panelists, the view is that there is not too much of downside as far as the Indian market are concerned. Whatever shakeout will happen, I think that will become a sort of a bottom and buying opportunities for new stocks, creating new bases. Taking losses is very, very important, whether it's a swing trading loss, whether it's a positional swing trading loss, or even long-term, as Ankur mentioned, if it cracks 35% odd, and if it's not working for you, taking loss is very, very important, guys. So I think let's not shy away from this point that if losses are happening, it's part and parcel of the market. As Vivek bhai, Pankaj bhai, Ankur, Vishal put it, staying disciplined and following rules to the T are very, very important. All these guys are strong believers in terms of both O'Neill and the Mark Miner-Winnie method as well. And it has really worked wonderfully. I've been in the system for the last 3 years. I was a core fundamental analyst before that. The entire viewpoint changed over the last 3 years. Speaking to all you wonderful guys, taking inputs, reading all your threads and blogs, have made me a better investor / learner into the market itself. Last but not the least, I think should not be impatient. Your investor psychology should not get affected in any sense. Because if you follow the first 3 parts to the T and you understand what the market process is, I think you should not get affected in terms of how your risk reward is. So define your risk reward very, very clearly. As Vivek put it, as Vishal put it, Pankaj and Ankur put it. Once you've defined that, right, sticking to rules, being disciplined, I think will work wonders for you. I think with this, I think it's time to probably wrap up. I think I overextended my time. Pankaj will agree that I had dinner, so I'm absolutely free for the rest of the evening. But I think I'll leave you guys to have a very
2 मिनट यदि आप परमिशन करें तो 2 मिनट में लेना चाहूंगा आपसे।
हाँ जी।
अभी हमने 1 करोड़ 20 लाख सेंसेक्स की बात कर ली और आप लोगों ने अभी उसको हवा में भी उड़ा दिया है, लेकिन मैं आपसे फिर सीरियसली कह रहा हूँ अपने
हवा में नहीं उड़ा है पंकज भाई, किसी ने हवा में नहीं उड़ा
कि आप ये देखिए, मैं आप सभी से एक ही बात कर रहा हूँ कि आप ये देखिए कि हम किस तरफ जा रहे हैं। हम इकोनॉमिक सुपर पावर की तरफ जा रहे हैं। आप इसके कुछ एग्जांपल लीजिए। आप ने डिजिटल पेमेंट की बात कीजिए, 600 करोड़ का यूपीआई पेमेंट है एवरी मंथ। 600 करोड़ यूपीआई पेमेंट, जिसमें 10 लाख करोड़ के ट्रांजैक्शन हो रहे हैं। आप टोल की बात करें तो 100 करोड़ टोल टैक्स डेली बेसिस पे कलेक्ट हो रहा है। आपका बैंक अकाउंट आज 7 दिन में नहीं, 7 मिनट में खुलता है। आप $100 बिलियन का सोलर आप इंपोर्ट बिल आता है आपके इंडिया में। आप इमेजिन कीजिए सोलर का 21% हिस्सा है और वो जाके यदि 50% भी हो जाए तो आपका ट्रेड डेफिसिट का क्या होगा। आईफोन 14 आप इंडिया में बना रहे हैं, लेकिन आप सोचिए चाइना +1 के कारण क्या आपको नहीं लगता कितने अगले 25 साल में कितने मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडिया में होने वाले हैं? तो मैं फिर से यहाँ एक बात बहुत एस्टेब्लिश ढंग से कहना चाह रहा हूँ कि आप राइट टाइम पे राइट कंट्री में बैठे हैं, और जो पिछले 35 साल में हमने देखा, जो मैंने देखा, मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि अगले 25 साल में बिफोर 75 में वो देखूंगा यहाँ पर, और 1 CR का सेंसेक्स देखने की हम जा रहे हैं। हम सर्वशक्तिमान हो या न हो, सर्वश्रेष्ठ जरूर है, राइट टाइम पे, राइट इंडस्ट्री में, राइट कंट्री में और गोल्डन एरा में। ऑल द बेस्ट एंड हैप्पी इन्वेस्टिंग। थैंक यू।
Perfect,
35 MarketSmith इंडिया की 25th एनिवर्सरी पे वापस हम लोग जमा हो गए।
चलो तब हम लोग कैसे आएंगे? हमारा सबका एज हो गया रहेगा।
पैसा बनता रहा तो जरूर आएंगे।
In fact, next session जो हम करेंगे, I think let's do an live session. I have a word with my team as well. But wonderful session. Thank you, Pankaj bhai. Thank you, Ankur bhai. Thank you, Vivek bhai. Thank you, Vishal bhai, for sparing time, for extending whatever time period was there. And again, I think we will definitely catch up. Let's have these sessions every quarter, every 6 months as time permits for all of you. But it'll be wonderful to have you every quarter, so that all investors, stroke traders, stroke learners in the market can take away a lot more in terms of your multi-decadal experience as well. I am leaving it here. If Ankur bhai, Vivek bhai, Vishal bhai have some final thoughts, you can please go ahead.
I just want to appreciate all the audience, like amazing interaction, comments flow kabhi ruka hi nahi. So I'm thanking all the audience out here. Amazing energy you guys have given to all of us. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayuresh bhai, for moderating this, because this is very important for us to comfortably हम लोग अपनी जो भी point of view थे, we were just putting it out.
No, absolutely. The forum was all yours. I was just a facilitator. So you guys did a wonderful job. You made my life easy.
No, मजा आ गया, काफी सबसे मजा आ गया interaction करने का.
Thank you so much for such a lovely interaction. All the viewers and Pankaj sir, Vivek bhai, Vishal bhai, and Mayuresh, thank you so much for giving us such an opportunity to interact with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. You take care. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night.